opportunity to get in front of you. I want to talk about two matters tonight, and then take your questions. Matter number one is the budget adoption. We've got some good news. We've been able to reduce the deficit with some relooking at a lot of issues and numbers and adjustments, and so the number's not going to be quite as high that has been projected earlier. So that's the good news. But because of the new information, and out of respect to the board's not actually going to vote on it tonight, so they can ask all their questions, and then they'll get an opportunity to vote on it. They have to vote on it before the end of the month. So there may be a special meeting next week. There has to be a special meeting next week to do the final adoption. So it's starting to get better on that side of the house. So that's the most relevant news we have on the budget. And of course, by law, you have to adopt the budget before the end of the fiscal year, and the end of the fiscal year is June 30th. So this is getting to the end of the road. But I do want to thank everyone who worked at the 11th hour to iron out some of these details. The second matter is not as pleasant, and that is the miscalculation on the tax rate. The bad news is that it happened. The only good news is that Mr. Kim was able to figure it out and discover it, and we've notified the proper authorities, and we have a solution. And so the taxpayers will be made whole, and there'll be a process by which we do that. Tonight at the board meeting, we will talk about the tax rates and the different options and different opportunities. We're also going to recommend to the school board to not adopt the tax rate until September. By law, you can do it by the end of September. Typically, the district has done it before that, but you'll have a lot more information by September so that we won't make this mistake again that got us in this situation. We do apologize to the taxpayers. As I told you before in my first meeting, you can't talk your way out of things you behave yourself into. So this was an error. It's a correctable error. It's unfortunate, but regardless, you have to be honest about it when it happens. And so we do have a remedy. The taxpayers will be made whole. And I'll be glad to entertain any questions that you have about those two topics. Yes, ma'am. Or any others.
How was that tax rate overcharged? How did it happen in the first place?
Yeah, there was some information that came a little bit later, and I think by adopting the tax rate in August created some complications. We weren't the only, Socorro was not the only district, but it doesn't matter. And Mr. Kim, you want to add a little bit about how it happened and how you were able to correct that?
You know, we do want to say once again that there are other school districts in a similar situation in the state of Texas. However, as Dr. Hinojosa mentioned, obviously it happened here. There is a formal process of reviewing that, but I think the fact that the district adopted a tax rate in August in opposition and when what's known as the maximum compressed rate is released from TEA probably caused some confusion there in some regard. But once again, that's a conjecture on my side at this particular point. We had to do a formal review of the process and really rectify that going forward in the future.
And
Thank you, Mr. Kim.
well, who exactly is responsible for implementing that mistake?
Yeah, we're going to take a review at that. We have systems that will allow us to review how it exactly happened. We've asked internal audit to go through all the steps. The most important thing was to correct it and correct it now. Accountability is important, but we don't know what that's going to lead us to until there is an appropriate investigation launched by an independent entity, which internal audit reports to the school board. They don't report to the superintendent. So they're totally separate. So that has been turned over, and we'll see where that takes us. Obviously, you'll get the results of that when it happens. But it is, right now, the urgency was to get this right, fix it, and then let's go back and figure out what happened, precisely how it happened. Thank you. Any other? Yeah.
Will anyone be penalized for this mistake?
This is way too premature. As we all know in America, you're innocent until proven guilty, and if there was, we'll just let the facts take us to whatever conclusion. But we do believe in accountability, and like I said, we'll let that run its course. And I can't give you a timeline, but we're looking at it right now. The most important thing, though, is to get the tax rate right in September so that we can make our taxpayers whole.
And I know this was an overcharge based off of the limit that the TEA set. What is the TEA doing to prevent something like this from happening again?
Yeah, I don't know. You want to talk about that?
From TEA's perspective, according to their records, they're not going to go and provide additional fundings beyond what's known as the maximum compressed rate. So from a TEA perspective, they've already done their due diligence in that regard. This is an issue with the Socorro Independent School District and the local taxpayers. That's where we have to make sure it's right. And that's where we have to make sure it's right for the future. And once again, as Dr. Hinojosa mentioned, we do want to apologize on behalf of the taxpayers. But we're going to make this right going forward.
And will you guys be taking steps and implementing rules now to prevent something like this from happening again?
Oh, absolutely. And you'll hear part of that tonight about the timing and what to consider. I also want to say that a lot of people don't understand this part, is that you don't get to keep the money that you're overcharged. Because if you don't project your enrollment correctly or you don't do your tax collections correctly, there's this thing called settle up. And if your numbers aren't accurate locally, TEA is going to get their money, or the taxpayers are going to get their money. And so that's called the settle up process, because you're not entitled to keep that money. And so this would have been caught eventually, but luckily we were able here to remedy it right now so that the taxpayers can get their due. And so I want to thank Mr. Kim for his due diligence in finding that information out.
And I understand that you guys are working to prevent this from happening again, but can taxpayers expect this to happen again at all in the future?
They better expect that it not happen again. This is an anomaly. It has happened a few times in the state in previous years, but it happened to about 8 districts this year. But it's inexcusable. It needs to be corrected, and so that's where we're going.
Do you know what the total amount approximately was?
Yeah, it was a total amount of about $2 million. For the individual taxpayer, it depends on the amount of property that they own. So when you take it individually, it's not a lot of money. But $2 million is a lot of money when you put it collectively. And so we have analyzed that. And so you want to add anything to that?
The average home price right now in the Socorro Independent School District is around $246,000 approximately. When you base that number, it's about a $24 to the taxpayer on that average home price. Collectively, though, it's about $2.2 million or so total. But once again, regardless of whether or not it's $100 or 2.2, we got to correct the issue.
Anybody else? Thanks again. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.